Let's freaking go! Angel, Reese, Alexis, Morris, Kim, Mulkey to the Final Four. Are you kidding me? Was this one of the ugliest games you will ever watch? Yes. Was this one of the worst officiated games you will ever watch? Yes. But the simple truth remains the same. LSU, your beloved, I'm looking at you right now, SEC representative in the Final Four. Are you kidding me? We will probably be joined by South Carolina. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about Caitlin Clark at Iowa or Haley Van Lith at Louisville or whoever. Okay. The truth is, we got there. Okay. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Jamar Kane's replacements. I see some of you mentioning the defensive line coach at Coastal Carolina. So we're going to dive really freaking deep into it today. So I am very curious. Comment down below. Type Y for yes, type N for no. You watched that game. Because if you didn't, I'm not going to spend too much time on this today, okay? But I definitely was very into this game. I love March Madness. I love basketball. I know we're a football mostly channel, but when one of the other teams do something fantastic like the LSU women's basketball team just did in only year 2 under Kim Mulkey, you better believe it. We're going to at least talk about it some. I will say, though, that college basketball has a major officiating problem. Major, okay? Angel Reese is too smart and too talented of a player to foul out the biggest games of her life in back-to-back games. There is something broken with officiating at all levels. I don't know what we can do to fix it. The officiating obviously is bad in college football. Yesterday, there was a pretty big boxing match, and a Hall of Fame boxing referee ruined it. Okay? College basketball, we have had some of the worst calls you will ever see. But I really believe women's basketball officiating is the worst I have ever seen in any sport. And I just don't know what to do to fix it. I think we are in a really rough spot with where college basketball officiating is right now. This is just simply unacceptable. And I just have got to bring it out. It is bad. I even tagged the FBI and CIA on some tweets. Somebody's got to step in and do something. Somebody, because you are ruining this opportunity for both teams. There was bad calls, once again, in favor of Miami that I strongly disagreed with. There's got to be common sense. I mean, something has got to be done. And I know I bitch and moan about it all the time, but the truth is, it is that bad. It is that bad. I am to the point where I want to tell everyone to just not watch the games. Like, it is that big of a disservice for just everybody involved. Honestly, everybody involved. These women work their entire lives to play in this game. They will likely never play on this stage again, right? The same thing applies to the men at March Madness. They will likely never play on this stage again in front of millions of people. Women's basketball ratings are up. They're up. I was reading earlier today. It's up. And they're making millions of dollars with NIL and all this stuff. The sport is growing, and you have just the worst officiating. 2 fouls today on Angel Reese. I tweeted out both of them that were just complete horse crap. It has got to stop. But anyway, I know it sounds like a Debbie Downer, but I hate it. I cannot. It's all 3 of these games. So last 3 games, they were objectively terrible. But as Carvis points out, and Danny Girl and Sherry Berry, who actually has sat down and watched, I would say probably at least 99% of the games this year. The simple truth is this. This was an amazing feat by Kim Mulkey in year 2. Did they catch some breaks on this March Madness run? Yeah, they did, right? But who cares? Only thing that matters is a Final Four banner is going to be hoisted. Now, what I will also say about Kim Mulkey is, to us, the Final Four means something more than it means to her, probably, right? Because Kim Mulkey's a Hall of Famer. Another Final Four in her resume doesn't really do anything for her. It's a little bit different for us because we haven't, had this success since 2008. Um, but Kim Mulkey only wants national championships. And she said that when she had her introductory press conference. She said, look, we need to win national championships. The only thing missing from LSU is a national championship. So she's going to want to go win the whole thing. Obviously, just playing eye test, it's going to be so hard to beat South Carolina with what they have. Obviously, we won't play them if we win our first game in Dallas in the Final Four. But the simple truth is this: you're there. Anything can happen. If you have Angel Reese on your team, you can do a lot. But Angel Reese and Alexis Morris and Poole carried us in this 2-game stretch here. They're going to need everybody else on the roster, and LaDasia Williams, obviously. They're going to need everybody else on the roster to step up and take their games to the next level. So yeah, just a phenomenal game. Okay. So yeah, women's basketball refereeing is just awful. I understand it sounds like a broken record. I know it sounds like me being just an a-hole about the whole thing, but I think most of you are like me, right? You don't watch every game. I probably watch more than some of you. I think there is probably 30-ish% of you that just helicoptered in for these final few games. Well, if you did, this is what you are treated to. Just, once again, an emotional game. I obviously there are some things that I would have done differently if I were on LSU sidelines. But the simple truth is this: you won, and that's all that matters. And God, when you get a legend like Kim Mulkey, it is just freaking amazing that a coach changes everything, right? Nikki Fargas is one of the brightest basketball minds. ESPN could have picked anyone, and she is their lead analyst. And you see how hard it is to win at the collegiate level, men's, women's, anything. All these coaches are good, right? But that's why you got to pay the extra money to get the legend. And Kim Mulkey matters, and that's the bottom line. We're witnessing something really, truly special here. Not only with her, but Angel Reese and Alexis Morris. They are legends, right? I don't like to throw that word around all that often, but we should celebrate it when it happens. Now, moving on to Jamar Kane here. I'm going to be honest with you. This is the third consecutive game. And here's what we're going to do. I know it's a little bit different. I understand the game just happened. We all watched it. We're kind of doing a post game here. So here's what we're going to do. I know we're football first, but I'm going to be honest with you. If the college baseball team goes to Omaha, and if the LSU women's softball team, which is pretty good this year, Skipper updates me on everything LSU softball in our Discord, I'm going to talk about it. I will, because we deserve to talk about greatness. Okay. So if you guys want to continue talking women's basketball, I'm happily there to do it. Right. Because the game is fresh. The Jamar Kane thing, I honestly believe it's going to, I don't think LSU is going to act too quickly here. But, every time there's a defensive line opening at LSU, everybody's going to bring up Bo Davis, right? Because he's from here, played here. He's obviously coached at all the big openings. He's one of the most accomplished defensive line coaches. That's always going to be target number one. I know we got a super chat in the last live stream. Let's go pay a lot of money and go get Larry Johnson at Ohio State. I don't think that's going to happen. So, and I also saw Kyle Williams' name float around there. I just don't think that that's going to happen. I just don't. And I would love to see it. Obviously, Kyle Williams is a legend. It was interesting that Benny Logan was just at practice. I would like to see him be an analyst and coach our guys up because he was a technician on the defensive line, not the fastest, not the biggest. But, there's so many different names. There are so many different names that are going to get floated around for one of the most coveted jobs in the profession, right? LSU, defensive line, it's a legendary position, right? You're going to get the best of the best playing defensive line there, right? So there you go. Now, I will touch on this quickly because one of our favorite, and I think if you polled who everyone's favorite PHLer is, Ellie Mom would be up there, and quite a few people would be up there, Jared. But JSB, we are here to console him. Everybody lights up when JSB is in here. That was a brutal loss for Texas today. Brutal. I thought the over the back call at the end was kind of sucky, but a lot of people are going to pile on. Rodney Terry, the assistant for Texas State. I think a lot of you watched that game because it was right before the women's game. Honestly, I just think Miami went out there and won it. Right. I think they hit all their free throws. They hit a bunch of tough shots. Rodney Terry's going to get a lot of heat for it. There's a big decision. Is Texas going to hire him as a full-time coach? I'm going to defend Rodney here and say that wasn't the worst collapse I've ever seen. I think in that instance, this wasn't a choke job. I think it was more Miami went out there and made plays to win it instead of the other way. So, but yeah, I was actually pulling for Texas today because of JSB. I can't believe that. Yeah, D-Rock Irish, good to see you. Yeah, I pride myself on being football only because, look, LSU football is, something that can be talked about 365 days a year. And you guys come here for LSU football. So tonight there's going to be more women's basketball because this is a historic night. Okay, so if there's a coaching change or a big news story, I won't talk a whole lot of LSU baseball unless I get a super chat about it, because football it's just a 24/7, 365 thing. But this just happened, right? And we moved our live streams to Sunday nights and Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays. So look, there's so many people to celebrate here. Bob Starkey, the entire staff for LSU, everybody that works for that program. It is a good day to be an LSU Tiger fan. You got a Hall of Famer coaching your team that was introduced by Michael Jordan into the Basketball Hall of Fame. And you've got legends, right? Now, you do turn the page and try and go win the national championship. In a perfect world, you get some stroke of luck and South Carolina just loses, right? Because LSU's game is to overpower you in the post, right, with Angel Reese. As great as Angel Reese and LaDasia Williams are, okay, those two just don't have the firepower that South Carolina has in the post, right? So, that's the only team I would fear, right? Because they are by far the best team. I do think, though, the South Carolina game earlier this year was a little bit misleading because they were at home. There was 18,000 people in the building, right? And it was Super Bowl Sunday. It was hyped up, 1 versus 3 or whatever our ranking was. And, Don Staley is the best coach in the sport right now. But, I think on a neutral court, whistles go your way. Alexis Morris gets hot. But I do think if it got to that point, LSU would need to find a way to beat them from the outside in instead of the inside out, right? But everybody else, I think LSU can beat. I really do. I really, really do. Okay. Oh, that would be crazy. Angel Reese versus Maryland. So we'll see. So you see the poll question up. Does LSU's women's basketball team win at all? 49% of you say yes. Now 50% of you say, well, it's moving. I don't know. They're saying this is South Carolina's best team. I do think, though, Kim Mulkey likes to play her style, right? She likes to grind out victories. I do think you got to beat them from the outside, though. I do. But who knows? We got to worry about beating whoever's in front of us first. Okay. Who do we play the winner of? Let me pull up the bracket. Let's see here. God, I'm so freaking happy we won this game. Oh, man. Also, to tie in, okay, to tie in basketball here, okay, if you guys do not mind, I say basketball. We play the winner of VTech and OSU. Okay, cool. But isn't Louisville and Maryland plays South Carolina tomorrow. Okay. So those games are tomorrow. All right. This is awesome. All right. So because they switched to the new game, we weren't able to get, post game and all.
Dallas, baby, I told y'all, we heading to Texas, baby. I'm going home. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, she's from Texas.
Dallas, baby, I told y'all, we heading to Texas, baby. I'm going home. Let's go.
Oh, man. This team has so many personalities on it. Look at that. Look at those smiles. My goodness. If I have a boy or a girl, I'm naming him or her Angel. Let's go. That is just so crazy, man. Kim freaking Mulkey. What? I mean, dude, isn't that crazy? A freaking legend. Let's go. I got to be honest, though, Doug. I know you focus mostly on baseball, right? A lot of you helicoptered in for this final game. I'm not saying Doug did. I'm thinking. I mean, you're a diehard LSU fan. You've watched other games. A lot of you probably did helicopter in just for this game. That was one of the hardest games I have ever watched. The officiating was bad. You could tell Miami was just done, right? They were just tired. We did not play our best, but who cares? Just get it done. Okay. Love the Lady Tigers, but this year is going to be South Carolina again. The Lady Tigers will win it all in the next few years. I don't know. I mean, you got to. This would be the question I would answer. Okay. All right. And I would. We just talked about her not too long ago. By the way, I don't think we beat South Carolina this year if we actually get there. Danny brings up the Shreveport girl, Michaela Williams. All right. The next PHL get-together is April 22nd in Bossier City. All right. I need you there. It is free, and you will get your chance to meet the future WNBA first-round pick, Michaela Williams. Okay. If you think Angel Reese is good, all right, it's going to be hard for Michaela Williams to be a better player than Angel Reese because Angel Reese is, joining the likes of Sylvia Fowles and Simone Augustus and whoever else you want to throw in there, right? Michaela Williams is way more hyped than any of them, right? At least the most hyped since Simone Augustus. She will be there signing autographs. And Patrick Queen will be there too. One of the greatest LSU linebackers of the modern era. And Jeray Jenkins will be there. And by the way, Jeray Jenkins is signing autographs for free. And I'll be there doing a PHL show and a PHL get-together. and I'm going to be giving away a lot of stuff. Okay. I've given away quite a few Malik Neighbors autographs. I'll give one of these Malik autographs out there. I'll give out some Joe Burrow cards. So April 22nd, it is worth it. Like the last one, Lance Hurd was there. Trey Holly was there. It's worth it. It's totally free. But I highly recommend you bring some cash, buy some autographs, buy some cards, and join us for a get-together. Okay? I'm looking at you, LA Mom. We'll see you there. Let's see. All right. Oh, I'm telling you. Pool can get hot, though. If Pool gets hot, we can win any game. Angel will stay. Well, do women leave for the WNBA? So this is a weird question, right? Because it depends on what you want, right? Is Angel Reese like a top 5, top 10 WNBA pick? I have no clue. I couldn't tell you that. I just couldn't. What I would say though is, let's say she went to the Minnesota Lynx, okay, and she had the option of going to play in WNBA where she would play for them, or the Los Angeles Sparks, or the Las Vegas Aces, or would you rather stay at LSU, which is a bigger brand, right? The WNBA brands have grown. There's no doubt about it. But I'm telling you, with NIL stuff, she's got the nickname Bayou Barbie. I would highly recommend her staying, simply because I think she is very marketable in so many ways. Like, she is a superstar, obviously, but she's got this big personality. I just think, I don't know. I don't know what she wants to do. And I don't know. Sherry Berry, you might know more about this than me. Do some players leave early? Like, Maya Moore is probably the best player I've ever seen. I think she stayed like all the years. But yeah, I don't know. If I'm Angel Reese, you're the Bayou Barbie. You're being coached by Kim Mulkey, who, along with Don Staley, are the two biggest stars in the game. Gino Oriama, but nobody likes Gino. I don't know. And here's the thing. Angel Reese knows she can dominate like everybody in the SEC. Okay. WNBA gets tougher, right? It gets way tougher. But yeah, I don't know. Carvis, I wish I can be an expert on that. Okay. Now, a few other things involving Jamar Kane, because his name is on top of the video today. Look, I'll be on Blake's show tomorrow night, AYS 7:30s every Monday. We did a long live stream yesterday on Jamar Kane, and Blake knows Jamar. He's really close with him. And Blake shared a lot of insight on Jamar's decision to leave. By the way, if you are watching us right now, we do a lot of spring practice breakdown. So if LSU practices, we have a video out that day. Okay, so any day LSU practices, we'll have a video out at 6 p.m. if the media is able to go in there and shoot some footage, right? On Patreon, tomorrow, we're doing a breakdown of something I've seen LSU's quarterbacks do in practice that is going to be a staple for what they're going to do next year that they didn't do a whole lot of this year, okay? Which makes a lot of sense. So that's going to be a little bit of a film breakdown, and that'll be on Patreon tomorrow, okay? So there you go. Now, let me say this about Jamar Kane really quickly in case you haven't heard me on this at all. And if you guys don't want to talk Jamar Kane and you still want to talk women's basketball, feel free to super chat, but we are a football channel. Look, This was a business move, okay? There are more college football defensive line jobs than there are NFL pass rush specialist jobs, okay? We can get into a debate. I'm not going to do it again tonight. Does Sean Payton hate us? Does Sean Payton hate Louisiana? Why does he do this? We can get into a debate about that some other time. Okay. But I get why Jamar Kane did what he did. Okay. I'm not mad at him. Obviously, I feel that there's really only one person I truly just feel the worst about, and that is Deshaun Womack, right? He's your defensive line coach, right? And Jamar Kane was a big piece as to why Womack came to LSU, and Womack's family moved to Baton Rouge. Okay, so it was interesting. I feel bad for him, so young in his career, for this to happen. It sucks, right? But I think Womack's going to be fine. He understands what's ahead of him. The Jack linebacker room is wide open, and I think Womack can win it. I really do. I think he can win it outright. He's a very talented player. But I'm not mad at Jamar, and based on what I'm hearing right now, yes, the LSU players are disappointed, but they're not mad at him either. Okay. Also, he is leaving for another NFL job. Okay. He's not leaving for another college football job, and most notably, he's not leaving for another SEC job. This doesn't hurt us in recruiting in terms of him recruiting against us. Now, we have a lot of people asking, what about Colin Simmons? What about McKinley? What about all these elite defensive linemen? This is a really good defensive line crop in Louisiana. What about Ahmad Bro, who just committed? Time will tell, right? Louisiana elite defensive linemen come to LSU. Okay. Well, what about Ismail Sofsher? Okay. One. All right. Find me more elite defensive linemen from LSU that decided to go elsewhere. Okay. Not worried about that too much. It honestly comes down to your opinion of Colin Simmons, who obviously is an absolutely massive piece to what LSU wants to build in 2024. I think Colin's a pretty good football player. I do. But that's 2024. I'm not going to worry too much about any 2024 player. But Colin Simmons is really good. I mean, there's just no other way around it. That kid can really play football. And he's a game changer. So, we'll obviously pick that up as time moves on. Okay. But at this point, I've been told Brian Kelly's met with the defensive line. The relationship, I play defensive line. I just know this because I still have a close relationship with my defensive line coach. It is a very metaphysical relationship with your DL coach. And this is going to be the fourth consecutive year that, somebody different is going to be coaching this position. Okay. And it sucks, right? It sucks if you're Jacoby and Guillory. It sucks if you're Mason Smith. It sucks, right? But we'll be fine, right? We will be fine. He says is Bo Davis every year. Everybody, welcome Code I don't know why your photo is at. Joe Burrow's peach emoji is showing. Hope you didn't demonetize me. Change your photo. I've been liking your comments. Okay. I knew this was coming up. Go get Coach O. Not going to spend too much time on that. There's a lot of different reasons why that is not that's that's just not good. Thought it was really cool Lil Wayne called the girls. Yeah, it was, but I also saw that he called Miami's girls. I'm like, hold on, Wheezy. You're a Packers fan over a Saints fan? I'm just kidding. My name is Carter. So I love Lil Wayne. I honestly, I'll get in trouble for this. I'm so biased towards Louisiana hip hop. Like Wayne and Boosie are my two favorites of all time. I'm not a music guy. I'm just not. I'm just not a big music guy. So my opinion on this probably is very invalid. By the way, don't forget PHL Idol coming up in May, where we have two aspiring country musicians going head to head. Okay. We need to get more judges. We already got one judge. It's pretty big. But yeah, I'll move on from that. I know hip hop heads are coming after me. Really? Your two favorites? Come after me. Come after me all you want. Man, I would love it. I think about getting into coaching all the time. I'll leave these comments for another live stream. But yeah, as you guys know, I love film studies. I love breaking it down. Defensive line coaching is a grind. It's a lot of recruiting, right? And it's also one of the positions where the actual recruiting you do far outweighs your actual ability to coach. Okay, now what does that mean exactly? Defensive line is a numbers game, right? Now, I can get into the different techniques and different ways you could play defensive line. And if there is a major difference between one coach to another coach, some will say that the differences between defensive line coaches isn't as stark as it is QB coaches, where there's a lot of more different mechanical theories and philosophies. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's weird for me because my defensive line coach was the same my entire career, varsity, middle school, all of it. So I was only taught one way, right? And he coached a lot of Power 5 D1 guys. So I know he was good. You got my butt to be able to play. But I love coaching. I do. I would love to do it, but dude, there's so much that goes into it. More than just what you see. It's more than just recruiting. It's a lot. Okay. Hey, that's a better Joe Burrow photo. Okay. Want me to make that happen? Hey, if I had Jamar Kane salary, I would not need any more super chats. I'll put it like that. Go listen to Motown. Let's go. Let's get some Motown, man. That's a good question from Doug. Think Matt House is going to have any input on this hire? Okay. Yes, I do. And it may not be his direct input, but it could be more indirect in the eyes of Brian Kelly, because now Brian Kelly has seen how Matt House likes to run his defense. What I think would be interesting, okay, is Jamar Kane was also the run game coordinator, right? Some would say that's just a title to add on to a coach to make the resume look more fancy, and I get it. What's going to be interesting for LSU's defensive line moving forward is how they play. Is it going to change, right? This was a fierce debate we had not too long ago on here about interior defensive line play. How was LSU's interior defensive line play last year? Okay. let me throw it out to you guys. Okay. The defensive line. So take out BJ Ojolari, take out Harold Perkins, because by definition, they are not a defensive lineman in Matt House's defense. So the defensive lineman who put the hands in the dirt, okay? So that is Mekhi Wingo, that is Jaquelin Roy, that is Ali Gay. Those are your starters. And then after that, it was Savion Jones, Jacoby and Guillory, okay? That was who played a majority of the reps. Okay, remember Mason Smith didn't play last year. Okay. Type A for A, type B for B, type C for C, type D for D. The interior of LSU's defensive line, grade it right now in the chat. Okay. Type A for A, type B for B, type C for C, type D for D. Okay. Once again, it was a majority 5-man, and if we're being honest, 4-man rotation. Okay. TJ, what's good, man? Mr. James says B. Jacob says B. Sherry Berry says B. Got a lot of B's in here, man. This looks like my 8th grade report card. Danny Girl comes in with C, B minus. Rob says C. Okay. Now, I would go with B as well. I do. You know, once again, we on Power Hour LSU, I'm of the philosophy that that you weigh Power 5 games over non-Power 5 games. Okay, so it's more important to weigh Power 5 games, especially last year, considering our non-Power 5 games were all blowouts. Okay, so New Mexico was a really bad team last year. Southern was a really bad team. UAB was actually a really good non-Power 5 team, but Jaden was phenomenal in that game. So, you know, they had one of the best running backs in this year's draft class, Dwayne McBride. But, you know, and then, of course, the Purdue game was just a disaster. So if you go game by game, how did they play? Florida State, they were okay. Ole Miss and Alabama was a mixed bag. Arkansas, they were phenomenal. Some of that is due to KJ Jefferson not being the guy there in that game. Florida was also a mixed bag. So yeah, you know, it's hit or miss. Tennessee, it's so hard to rate the LSU defense versus Tennessee simply because the it's hard to rate LSU's defense versus Tennessee because the offense and special teams was so bad, right? So yeah, I think B is a fair result, right? There were times where you wondered if LSU could have gotten more interior pass rush. I think Jaquelin Roy wasn't as dominant as he was from the year before. But yeah. Now, Christian Lacouture as LSU defensive line coach. I would say no, and I've interviewed Christian before. I've talked to him a few times on IG. You know, he got out of coaching, you know, to get into the private business stuff that he does now. Probably makes more money now. But if you get the head defensive line coach, it's a little bit different, right? You get paid. I don't think he's ever been a head defensive line coach. Now, if you want to go hire someone that would get the alums fired up. Bring Meatball back. Okay. So Meatball is Dennis Johnson, I believe is his name. Coached at LSU a long time, and Dave Aranda poached him to Baylor. Okay. He was the assistant defensive line coach for LSU, and he is loved. He was loved while he was here. Okay. I think Meatball. I think that I would actually like that. That would especially at this point. I would be interested. I really would. Okay. I know he would be fired up to come back here. Okay. Could it be an insider? Could be. So obviously Gerald Chapman is a name that you can keep an eye out for here. Obviously, one thing that we've seen from Brian Kelly is he does like to hire people he knows, right? So, John Jancic is a guy he knew really well. Okay, Bob Diaco is someone that he knew really well. Both of those guys get, promotions, if you will. Diaco wasn't really doing anything, and Jancic goes from analyst to now very critical on-field coach. Okay. And then obviously the guy who calls the shots on offense, Mike Dimbrock, is a Kelly guy. So I do think I do think Brian Kelly does look for someone that he is very familiar with, especially this late in the process. John Sibley, once again, thank you so much for your generosity. Super big super chat right here. Thank you guys so much. Everybody throw some clap emojis in for John Sibley Butler. Okay. Do you think that the defensive line coach has already been hired? I will say this, okay? Brian Kelly has done a really good job at LSU of always having an answer, right? It's been like quite literally every single time he has had an answer to a recruiting blow and a coaching news blow. Now, this is the first big one, the first big coach that he's lost. But Brian Kelly has always done a really good job of that, right? Now, I know we have some Notre Dame fans that lurk in our chat, which is obviously really cool. Okay. No problem with that. But what I will say also is, and I don't know how to do this. I'm not, and actually, now that I mention it, I'm not good at Facebook at all. How do I share? Okay. I'm horrible at sharing on Facebook. I started a Facebook page. I hardly have any likes. Go look it up, Power Hour LSU. Let me see if I click it. There you go. I prefer everybody be on YouTube though, if I'm being honest. But I don't know. But I didn't mean to interrupt my thought with that. I was like, wait, hold on. I'm meant to do something. I got to start sharing on Facebook more often. I know that a lot of you are in these big Facebook groups. So there you go. Brian Kelly's always had an answer, though. Desmond Ricks doesn't sign. Okay, big deal. He gets a huge transfer portal class. I remember it was the heat of LSU. All right. It was the heat of the Brian Kelly can't recruit stuff. And Jackson Howard committed. Joshua Mickens committed, even though he's with Ohio State now. And that was out of their control, to be honest. Andre Carter's available. Sipper, thank you so much. Once again, when these super stickers come, it shows up as $100 where I am. As like the icon. I'll take 99 cents, and if everybody dropped 99 cents right now, I'd be a happy man. And I don't think that's too much, asking for everybody to simultaneously drop a 99 cents, or how about a 9.99? But yes, great coaches always have replacements. They just do. And that's just the nature of the beast. It's just the nature of the beast. You always have someone else in mind, especially Brian Kelly, who's done this so many times. He's fired friends, hired friends. There's certainly somebody that he can think of right now that he can go get. Okay. Jared, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Now, there you go. Thank you, Rob. Rob, you get to pick the next topic. Go right on ahead. I know Jared is a real and chill kind of guy. You know, one thing I tried. You want to know something crazy? So I went and hung out with Roger Dodger. What's good, man? Rob, you get to pick the next topic, and while we wait for Rob's topic, but to answer John Sibley's finally here, I do think Brian Kelly has an idea of where he wants to go with this. I don't think that this necessarily shocked him, especially considering some of the LSU players, including Guillory, said when CAIN told them they knew that he wanted to one day coach in the NFL. So I get it. I think LSU always knew that Jamar Kane was a supremely talented coach, and he's a guy that's coveted by a lot of people. Okay. Now, I highly recommend you go get your PHO merch right now. I don't even think about it. Right now. Okay. PowerHourLSU.com. I mean, I'm going to post a link right here. I kind of want to go to the Florida State game because Danny Girl is going. You guys know Danny Girl is a PHLOG. So you want to know what's crazy? There is a former Florida State player who I've become friends with, and he knows Colin Hurley, and his name is James Coleman. He's a really talented media person at Florida State, and we're gonna have him on again. And he was so good. He is one of the best guests we've ever had. Right. And we don't talk about him a whole lot as far as like the GOAT guests with Van and Jeremy Hill and Colin Hurley and all those, because he wasn't an LSU guy. But I rarely have people on from like an opposite team. But he was so good. Like, he was so entertaining. He shared all these Jameis Winston stories. It was crazy. And he invited me. He throws like these huge parties out there. So I know Carvis has invited me to crash at his place. I'm not just making that up, which is kind of weird. I've never met Carvis, but I kind of feel like I know him well. So yeah, Orlando's tempting. We are going to do something for the Arkansas game, though. So there you go. I saw this. Okay, so I saw that he was listing top 10 programs in college football. Okay. And he didn't have LSU. in his top 10. Okay. I don't know Josh, but I know someone that does know him really well. Now, are you just making this up? Because I didn't watch it earlier. I was busy watching my favorite thing on the planet go to the Final Four. Okay. I need confirmation, Bojax. I don't know if you're just trolling me because I'll call him out publicly if he says LSU is not a top 10 program in college football. Now, Bojax, I'm going to be honest. All right. You've never commented on here before. And I know you say Scout's honor. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Okay. I'm not saying I don't trust you. I can't go look at this right now because I'm here. I need Doug or Carvis or Danny, somebody that I know, right? So Ellie Mom, you watch this? Oh yeah, I forgot. Ellie Mom doesn't like basketball, so I know you just watch football. So there you go. I think Ellie Mom's the most trustworthy person on here. She gave me a cool little jar of candy. So Bojax, I wasn't doubting you, but I've had trolls say because it's skeptical. I'm skeptical of this. So what we could do here is I know somebody that talks to Pate really well, and he is a big PHL supporter. So what I will do is I will throw an invite to Josh Pate to jump on here right now. Okay. Would y'all want me to get paid on here right now? I would love to. I'm not the biggest person out there. I know he's a very busy person. I'm texting one of his really good buddies. Would y'all want him to come on? I know some of you don't like him. So I'm not going to say who this person is, but you guys know him pretty well. All right. And it's not Blake. So we're going to try and get Josh on. Maybe one of you guys can tweet, hey, Josh Pate. Okay, I just got a response. Look. If y'all tag him, I will send it to him right now. All right. Y'all want him on? I'm losing viewers because of this. I'll tell you, if I have like one lull in this. Jason, thank you for the super chat. Okay. People go crazy. Did you at me? Did you at me? Did you do Power Hour LSU or just this? He's probably going to be like, okay, but I'm not okay. Okay. I'm not. All right. Oh, Jordy has him on. Well, I don't. Is Jordy live right now? I don't know. But I'd love for him to jump on and explain this. Now, here's the thing. I even watched the video. I don't have the context of, is he saying that LSU isn't a top 10 program right now? Okay. Or is he saying historically? Okay. If he is saying historically. All right. So Ellie Mom, explain this for me. Did he say it, or is he live right now? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. Maybe some of you watch during the same time. I don't know. Is he saying historically, is LSU a top 10 program of all time? If you're saying historically, you have a very strong case that LSU is not a top 10 program of all time, right? So that's fine. I think LSU probably still sneaks into the back end of a top 10 of all time. But if you're saying of the modern era, or if you're saying a top 10 job right now, then, I don't get it. I don't. All right. So explain to me, if someone can explain to me, if he is talking about this modern era. I don't think he is saying, I don't think anybody reasonable would say LSU is not a top 10 job right now. But if he is saying historically, it's a little bit different. Okay. He was on at 7 Central. He said the LSU program currently is not a top 10 program. We are a top 10 team, but not a top 10 program. Okay. So let's play devil's advocate here. Okay. Let's just play devil's advocate. Top 10 programs right now. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I should just look up the top 10. All right. If someone, let me see if he's got it. Because I'm gonna be honest, I like Josh. I don't know if he'll consider me Pate State material. Okay. Let me see. I can pull it up really quickly here. Let's see. Unless one of y'all have the list, or if there's a graphic out with his list of the top 10 programs. Let's see if there's a graphics. Let's see. Okay, all right. No, I think I found it. Let me see. I'm getting blown up about this. Dang, I know I just saw the graphic. Let's see. I know I'm losing viewers right now because of this. Yeah, it's at 12. Okay. All right. Cool. All right, I found the list. Okay. Here we go. He said he had us at 12, so we weren't even knocking on the door, really. Okay. So here's his list. Now, Here we go. I'll break these down one by one. All right. If he is saying the top 10 college football programs right now, okay, not historically. Historically, there's a lot of programs on here that are better than us historically, okay? And that most notably is Alabama and Michigan, okay? Georgia, yes, better program than us. Yes, I don't think anyone of you would disagree with that. Alabama, better program than us. Yes, I don't think anybody would disagree with that. Ohio State, better program than us. Yeah, sure. They recruit better nationally than us. So that is okay. All right. So 1, 2, and 4 is most definitely ahead of us. Okay. Obviously, 1 and 2 more definitely than Ohio State. So my 1, 2, 3 would be Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. I could get Michigan being ahead of Ohio State because they have beaten them twice in a row. But I don't really know how you could put Michigan ahead of Ohio State with the with Michigan getting destroyed in the last 2 playoffs, right? And they didn't get destroyed by TCU, but they played horribly, right? So they played 2 playoffs where they just threw pick sixes and just was a mess. Okay. Now, is Clemson a better program than LSU at this point? You can make the case. Yes. I think Clemson, you can make the case, right? They were knocking on the playoff again this year. They are knocking on the door of the playoff almost every year, or they go to the playoff. And Dabo, of course, has won multiple national championships. So, look, 1, 2, 4, 5, and 3, you can make a strong case as a better program than us, okay? But then after that, it gets very interesting. Notre Dame is a better program than LSU, okay? Then why would one coach leave Notre Dame for LSU? Explain that. Please explain it to me. You can't, right? How many of these top 10 programs have lost to Marshall? Exactly. Look, I get it. The prestige of Notre Dame. I get it. But to call this a top 10 program, let's just take the Brian Kelly stuff out of it, right? They just went after an offensive coordinator at Utah, and they didn't pay up for it. Really? Behind on NIL? I just don't get the Notre Dame allure. I just don't. I just don't know how you could put them at number 6 when a coach left that job to go to another job. Okay? Now, his reasoning is he said Notre Dame overachieved. True. But why did they overachieve? Because the coach who left that job left for another job who has achieved more than Notre Dame. I don't get it. I don't. Penn State over LSU doesn't make any sense to me at all. LSU recruits better. Penn State, I just don't, I don't get it. Penn State has not beaten Ohio State. Penn State rarely beats Michigan. I guess he went with Penn State because he confused it with Pate State. Utah, that's nefarious. That's just nefarious. Okay. But then again, it just depends. If you are rating, if he is saying, hey, look, these are the programs I think are the best relative to expectations, then yeah, Utah routinely recruits outside the top 20, and they have won a lot of games. They've gone to back-to-back Rose Bowls, and they really rebounded well after losing to Florida in the Swamp. Look, yeah, I give Utah all the credit in the world, but it's not a better program than LSU, is it? Okay. USC, I'm fine with that. I get the logic with USC over LSU. I get it, right? USC, West Coast school. It's in LA. You could dominate the entire West Coast. Big market, USC's history, the Heismans, all of it. I get it, especially with Lincoln Riley being there now. I get it. I could definitely understand the logic of USC being in a better job, being in a weaker conference for now. But USC has not accomplished more than LSU since 2003. And then you have Oklahoma here. That just doesn't make any sense to me at all. It just doesn't make any sense, right? Relative to expectations, well, Oklahoma routinely recruits in the top 15, and they're in a weaker conference. And yes, they have made the playoff more than us. We have made it once, and Oklahoma, I think, has made it 3 times with Lincoln Riley. The Kyler Murray team that lost to Alabama, the Jalen Hurts team, and then the Baker Mayfield team that lost in overtime to Georgia. I just don't get it. I just don't. Like, really the only schools that are clearly better than LSU here is Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. Michigan, I'm okay with that. I am back-to-back playoffs. I get it. Clemson, I get it. More national championships. I'm just going with the teams that have a case. Utah, no. Penn State, no. Oklahoma, no. And definitely Notre Dame doesn't. Okay. So, once again, there's different levels of logic to this. Okay. There is the there is which program has achieved the most relative to their talent levels. You make a strong case it's Utah. Okay. So if you're basing a program on that, Utah deserves to be in the top 10. Back-to-back Rose Bowls. I get it. Pac-12's been pretty solid too. All right. I don't get it. I don't. What is a better metric of a program than the last 3 coaches have all won national championships, all within the first 3 years of them being there, all of which and this is what's really interesting. 2 of which got fired and had no offers for another head coaching job immediately when they got fired. And the guy who replaces him actually has coaching pedigree, was the all-time winner at the other program, joins a tougher conference with 39 scholarship guys, and that coach wins the SEC West in year 1. In year 1. Really? That's folks. This is where I stand. I think LSU is no lower than 7. Now, okay. Bring in Booger McFarland. I guarantee you, if you were to ask him, hey, do you want to leave broadcasting where you are making comfortable $250,000 a year deals? They're not leaving that. Nor should they. Okay. Now, LSU is without a doubt a top 10 job. Okay. I do need to go listen to the segment as to why he thinks Pate is why Pate doesn't think LSU isn't a top 10 job. I can defend him here, right? if he were to say, hey, these are the top 10 programs. Now, I will say this, okay? Let me bring back the list, all right? If he were to say, hey, these are the top 10 programs based on what they have accomplished recently, okay? Then LSU probably isn't on this list, right? Let's say you did this on a 5-year scale, okay? And consistency is one of your big marks, because I heard one of you say, Josh referenced consistency, okay? LSU has had roller coasters, okay? 10-3, 2018, 2019, 15-0. Then obviously 2020 was a 6-7, not great, or 5-5. And then obviously 2021 we're 6-7. We're terrible. Okay, and then last year we won the West and we were a solid team. If his argument was, hey, I'm looking for the 5 most consistent programs over the past 5 years, then all of these programs have been more consistent outside of USC, though. I mean, USC was bad the last few years under Helton. Penn State, as you mentioned, was 6-7 in 2020. I remember they lost to Michael Penix at the goal line. So what is my top 10 list? Okay. Thank you so much, AP, for your super chat. Really appreciate it. All right. I'll go through it really quickly. Once again, off the top of my head. It depends. Once again, it honest and look, I'm playing devil's advocate. I do think it's ludicrous to not have LSU on here. I really do. You guys know I'm not LSU rah-rah guy. I'll call a spade a spade. Okay. Georgia, Alabama, number 1 and number 2. You can put either one in either order. Ohio State is the clear number 3 program. Yes, they have as many playoff titles as we do. Okay. But they've been to more playoffs than us. They have won their conference more than us. So yeah, I mean, I'm fine with putting Ohio State at number 3. Okay. If you want to weight national championships, then Clemson would be number 4. You do worry about them in the transfer portal era. The post Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson era here. We'll see what they do with Klubnik, but it was clear that they were lacking a lot of imagination on offense in recent years. And Dabo's not a big X's and O's guy, but I'm fine with Clemson being ahead of us on this list. I am. And then Michigan is tough, right? Their playoff losses, y'all, are ugly. They're hideous playoff losses. You can't get around that, right? You look at the last 2 years, their Michigan State loss on the road to Mel Tucker was very fluky, and they beat Ohio State the last couple of years. We can get into a debate about those games. I do think their Ohio State win this past year was very lucky in a lot of different ways. But Michigan over us, I think that's tough. But really, only the top 5 on this list are jobs that I could say 1, 2, and 3. Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State would be the only jobs that I would take over LSU. And I'm trying to be as objective as I possibly can about this. I think LSU is number 4. I really do. I really do think LSU is number 4. Okay. I don't think you could put Texas there because no one's won big there recently. Nobody. Clemson, I'm fine with Clemson 4 and LSU 5. I don't get Notre Dame over LSU. Every rational argument just works against Notre Dame, unless you wanted to make the relative to expectation argument. Penn State doesn't make any sense. They've been top 10 recruiters for the longest. And yeah, they've played Ohio State competitively these last couple of years, but still, Utah, especially if you're Utah and you want to make the relative to expectation argument, sure, do it all you want. Okay. USC, Oklahoma. I mean, I can get saying, hey, would you rather be LSU moving forward or would you rather be USC moving forward with Lincoln Riley and, so much of the best quarterback talents come from California? I get it. But USC consistently has had defensive issues, whether it's Alex Grinch or Clay Helton, and Lincoln Riley's always had defensive issues. I just can't put USC ahead of LSU. And I definitely can't put Oklahoma, especially them joining the SEC. So I think I think LSU's number 4. I do. The only programs that are ahead of LSU, clearly, without reasonable doubt, no argument to the contrary, is Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State. That's it. Those are the only 3 programs, you cannot argue against it, that are better than us. Okay. Ohio State, you can make an argument against that one. But Georgia, Alabama, you can't. I mean, you can make a case, hey, LSU is a better program because Alabama is more Saban-based, and we have done more with just whoever at head coach. You can make that argument, but then again, it goes back to, does LSU do anything without Saban? I mean, you never know. Honestly, it's an impossible argument to make. So yeah, it's Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. We're number 4, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, LSU, Ohio State, a little bit more debatable. So once again, I need to go watch this segment. I need to go look at his criteria. All I did was pull up his video. I'm not going to play his video because I don't own the rights to that video. Okay, I just don't. But I strongly disagree. I do. And I understand, hey, I'm decked out in LSU stuff. I got hundreds of dollars of LSU collectibles. I get it. I know that comes off as bias, but if you were to do a blind resume test, or if you were to poll 10 random coaches in college football, and you were to poll 10 different media members in the world of college football of the national variety, list your top 10 programs right now, I would have a hard time believing that no less than at least 9 of each of them are going to put LSU in the top 10. Okay. I mean, so John, you watch this segment. All right. Pate not saying all time. Okay. Just most recent success, but he chooses some teams 10 years, but recently Michigan and Penn State. Penn State's not made a playoff. It would make sense if Penn State's made a playoff. It would make sense. Or it would make more sense if you said, hey, who had the better year last year? Penn State won a Rose Bowl. Okay. Penn State's not made the playoff. At least make a playoff before you start discussing them with the big boys. Just make one. I'm not asking for 10. Make one. Is that too much to ask? Y'all type Y for yes, type in for no. Is it too much for me to ask Penn State to make a playoff? Or am I overselling it? I think you need to make a playoff before you start saying, hey, this you deserve to be you deserve to be listed with the best. Okay. I think, okay. I'm going to make an analogy here. It might fly over your head. Okay. I feel like putting Penn State on this list, okay, is the same way as if we discussed the best players in NBA history. All right. So if we're doing an NBA history list and we're discussing Jordan, we're discussing LeBron, we're discussing Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, bringing up Penn State is like saying, hey, John Stockton is up there. I don't think anyone would disagree that John Stockton is one of the best players to ever play in the NBA. But is he in the big boy category? No. 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 Okay, when you discuss the heavyweights, if you discuss the greatest of all time, win a title. Okay? And I'm anti-discussing NBA legacies just because you want a ring or you don't, right? I'm a big Damian Lillard defender. I don't think Dame needs to make playoffs or win titles to prove his greatness. But if you're discussing the best of the best of the best of the best of all time, okay, I want the program to have at least made a college football playoff before you start saying, hey, this is one of the best programs in the country, okay? Michigan State has made a playoff. Washington has made a playoff. Washington. But Penn State? That's what we're talking about. I see some familiar faces in here now. I'll go back to my initial point about the I'll go back to my initial point about Notre Dame. If Notre Dame is a better program, why would Brian Kelly leave that program to go to another one? Oh no! Hey, look. I'll tell you this. Nicholas Singleton is a stud. And he's probably a little bit closer to like a Saquon Barkley level player than he's getting credit for. And I think he's very underrated. Number 10, their running back, is a beast. Okay. Apparently, Drew Allar is the second coming. And James Franklin is, without a doubt, a top 10, top 15, top 25 coach in the sport with what he accomplished at Vanderbilt. But if you were to list, let me ask you this, Blake, would you put Penn State over LSU, a top 10 program in the sport right now? I think Penn State could be a monster. Okay. Portland, good to see you. Notre Dame in the top 10 based on the accomplishments of the coach who isn't there anymore. There's also a few schools I would venture off and say Oregon deserves a little bit more credit than they get. Okay. So I've gotten into this debate recently with quite a few of my friends. Plum, good to see you, man. Pooh Bear's in here. What's up, man? Georgia's a better program than us. Let's be fair here. Okay. So once again, I'll put the list up. I know we got a bunch of people floating in here. And I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy the fodder. Okay, I enjoy it. I would put Oregon over Utah here. I would. One thing I like about Oregon, okay, I heard Blake Ruffino does his crawfish. I like Oregon's program a lot. I really do. Okay, could it be that Andre 3000 goes to all their games? It very well could be. Huh? But no. Here's what I like about Oregon. Okay. And they deserve more credit for this. Probably more than any other program. Okay. The Pac-12, all right, plays a 9-game conference schedule. Let me confirm that. All right. They do. Now, they play a 9-game conference schedule. And on top of that, they have scheduled some of the most brutal out-of-conference games when they don't have to. They don't have to do it. Okay? Knowing that they will likely lose them. Okay? I give Oregon a lot of credit. I give Phil Knight and all the powerful people at Oregon for doing something that a lot of cowardly programs won't do, which is really schedule non-conference teams. Okay. So, and it cost them. It cost them a national championship game versus us in 2011. I mean, in theory. Okay. I got to be honest, man. I want to go look up all the non-conference games that Oregon's played. So Oregon played a season opener. I know they played one versus LSU. I know they played one versus Auburn. And I know they played one versus Georgia. All those schools recruit better than them. And they've lost all those season openers. And every single one of those season opener loss years that Oregon had, okay? Now, this is going to be a little bit different than if you played the game or if you don't, okay? If you played football, you know how much an early season loss can destroy a locker room, right? In baseball and basketball, you play so many games, softball, all the different sports, you play so many games. A season opening loss stings. It sucks because you have all these practices and you're leading up to this game and you're so excited. You're playing an SEC school and they routinely lose that game. Okay. The Justin Herbert Bo Nix game was ironic because, Bo Nix ended up being their quarterback, but they got destroyed by us. They got destroyed by Georgia and they lost to Auburn and they still had great seasons. Okay. I like teams that schedule tough non-conference games, right? Because football is a sport that we know as being fearless and you got to go out there and you got to challenge yourselves. And Oregon has done it more than anyone else, and they don't get enough credit for it. And now they have won with different types of coaches now up to this point. It's a very underrated program. So I would put Oregon ahead of some of those schools. I would. I mean, they got the funding, they have the resume, they have the chops. I like their program. I do. And Andre 3000 goes to their games. Okay. Clemson is a phony. Let me ask you this. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Okay. Clemson is still a top 7 job in college football. They're still a top 7 program in college football. Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'm saying right now. Okay. Right now. This is still Dabo. They're still atop the mountain. They're still in the upper echelon. Okay. Or are they James Harden? Still good, but a little overhill. A little bit more Robin and not enough Batman. Lots of no's. Once again, I'll be on AYS tomorrow, 7:30. Should be a fun segment. Chatting some Jamar Kane and everything under the sun. Man, I'm telling you, there are people that know football better than me that love Florida State going into next year. They love them, and they should. They are stacked. They have got a really good roster. And I don't know if you guys have been watching March Madness. Age matters. Okay. 2019, we were an old team filled with year 4, year 5, and year 3 guys hitting their prime. We were old. We had, you can count on one hand how many year 1 or year 2 guys that we had that were big for us that year. We were old. Florida State's going to be an old team next year. Okay. San Diego State, they're all 5th-year guys. They're all 5th-year guys, 5th year, 4th year guys. They're adults. They can go buy beer. Okay. Hell, Drew Timme can file for AARP. Age matters in these tournaments. You got to have experience. Florida State's an old team. LSU's best teams are older teams. We tweeted out a photo of Glenn Dorsey earlier. Got to have some of those guys that come back when they don't need to come back. Here's an interesting point right here from Branson Cat. I like him a lot, thinking outside the box. Once again, Branson Cat will be a part of PHL Idol in May. Okay. No, Ohio State, Michigan, Bama, Georgia, LSU, USC, A&M because of funding. A&M's an interesting story, right? I still think A&M's a very attractive job. I just think the Jimbo play calling thing is just so big. It really is. But if you recruit as well as they've recruited, they were number 1 2 years ago. They were like in the mid-teens this year. You should be knocking on the door for more playoffs, right? Yeah, A&M's an attractive job. Something else about A&M that makes it semi-attractive is this idea that they have not hit their Everest yet. They have not won it all. Okay. So if you are the first quarterback, if you are the first team, if you are part of that first coaching staff, they love you. They will love you. Okay. So there you go. But yeah, we talked about that for about 30, 45 minutes. I had a buddy courtside. Actually, he lives in Greenville, and he was working the game tonight. So if you're just joining us, first 20 minutes was me bitching about refereeing, but also me celebrating Kim freaking Mulkey. What a freaking group. What a freaking group of scrappers. Stars. But this is just the truth. Okay. A&M has, let's do a little trivia. I know we like to do some PHL trivia. Okay. In the chat right now, can you name which sport Texas A&M has the most national championships in? Now, they do have a national championship in meat testing. That is true. Meat judging. I'm not making that up. That is verified. But can you name the sport? The illustrious sport that they have and look at Danny Girl. Oh, man. And Doug knows, gets it right. It's equestrian. They have 12 equestrian national championships. They might have more in another sport, but 12 equestrian national championships. But is it track and field? It might be track and field. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Feel free to do so. But equestrian, it's still an obscene. Some of you are probably like, well, what the hell is equestrian? And it sounds like scuba diving or something like that. What? Oh, man. Equestrian. Kalen Clark. What's the score of that game? Oh, man, they're blowing. I thought that game was going to be tight. Iowa. Kalen Clark is a bucket. She is a beast. Oh, she's got 36? Are you kidding me? In an Elite 8? Damn. Like, you have got to be hooping to score 36. Was that more? How many points did Miami score tonight? What was the final score? She might score more points than Miami. Miami only scored 42. I mean, she might get there on her own. Man. Caitlin Clark. Are you kidding me? 36 in an Elite Eight, and she's still got a full quarter to play. God bless. So the good news is we play. I would much rather play Virginia Tech or Ohio State than her or South Carolina or Maryland. Hey, buddy. And we got a love-hate relationship going here with me and Paris. She even changed her name. She was just. I'm telling you, Simper. I don't know. I kind of want to block Paris. I mean, this is like I don't know. It's been a while. It has been a while. I mean, Shaquille O'Neal was still playing when Paris was last in a chat. I don't know. I'm gonna let Simper decide this. I know Simper and Skipper are like huge Bears fans. Oh yeah, Duke. Yeah, I forgot you're Duke basketball super fan. Well, that was weeks ago. Y'all lost to Tennessee. Tennessee, Rocky Top. Okay. They said, what about a super chat question? Okay, there you go, Paris. You get to pick the next topic. Jason, I owe you an apology. I never skip super chat questions, but it was in the middle of the Josh Pate debate. Okay. And if anybody loves anything, it's when people wrong the LSU football program. Okay. I'm nothing against Josh Pate. Respect him. Like, I don't want to be as big as his channel is doing the SEC stuff. Okay. All right. So, Jason, I owe you an apology. And actually, I'm going to send you a card. All right. So, Jason, I think you have my IG or whatever. I'll send you something tomorrow. How about that? Okay. Because I obviously want to put the super chatters first. So, shoot me a message on IG, Jason. I think I already have your info anyway, and I'll send you something tomorrow. I don't know what it's going to be. It might be a Jamar Chase card. I don't know. You let me know. Okay. What's your best guess on when we win our first one under Brian Kelly? Also, how many does he win in his 10 years? There you go. That's a good question. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We've had the poll question up. Does LSU's women's basketball team win at all? Okay. Paris, you get to pick the next topic. Go right on ahead. Okay. So don't forget, Jason, to message me. I'm going to send you something for getting caught up in the debate. Okay. Does LSU win a national championship in the next 2 seasons? Okay. And Paris, we're going to get to your spring game question in just a second. Okay. I think the better question, Jason, is okay. National championships are random. Okay. And sometimes your best team doesn't actually win the national championship. Okay. So national championships are very random. Okay. Like, for instance, Les Miles's best team did not win a national championship, but maybe his second or third best team did, right? So '07 versus 11, right? Um, Rarely is there a case like 2019 LSU where there's just this one team that is just so much better than everybody else, right? And then obviously you can make that case for 2020 Bama, and you can make that case for 2021 um, Georgia, but I mean that Ohio State game was so close. So you need a lot of luck to win a national championship. I think the better question, Jason, is does LSU have a national championship level roster next season? Okay. And the answer is they do. Okay. Um, I'm not just saying that just to say it. Obviously, there's a ton of holes on this roster. You don't know who your number 3 wide receiver is going to be at this point. Obviously, you need a lot of good injury luck to go your way. You don't know exactly how you're going to align your offensive line just yet. Defensively, there are a lot of holes to fill there, most notably at the jack, and most notably, as far as defensive back depth. But LSU's got enough elite players to go win a national championship, right? If you have a Harold Perkins on your team, you always have a shot to win a lot of football games. But obviously, you need more than Perk. You've got a lot of good pieces there. So I do think, Jason, that this team is where it needs to be. Okay, as far as enough talent to win a national championship, right? We return enough players. We hit on some key pieces in the transfer portal. Of course, you lose some top end guys. I think BJ Ojolari is the biggest loss LSU had off of last year's team going into this next year's team. I think there are some players for LSU uh, that are going to need to step up for them to win a national championship. But a good answer to this, Jason, is yes, they do have enough. Also, Jason, the college football landscape is going to drastically change over the next couple of years, and we get a little lucky that the playoff will stretch out to 12 teams when our season openers continue to be hard, right? Because we do schedule a lot of tough season openers, and it does give you more wiggle room to lose that season opening game. So, now, Jason, that the playoff is going to stretch to 12 teams, I think a more comfortable answer to your question is how many playoffs will Brian Kelly make in the 12-team format? And I think most reasonable LSU fans would like to be in the playoff once every other year. Every year is tough when you play Alabama, Georgia, and all these difficult schools on the updated schedule. A&M, whoever else, Oklahoma, Florida, Texas. But I think every other year making the playoffs. So how many does he win in his 10 years? I'm going to go with 2. I'm going to go with 2 in this first 10-year contract. We're going to find a way to win 2 of them. 1, though, is a more reasonable answer, right? I think 2 is my biased LSU fan answer, but 1. Okay. So thank you so much, Jason, for the super chat. And let's go to Paris, her super chat. Keep my family in your prayers. My grandma lives in Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Her house is gone, but she is doing better in the hospital. Yes, obviously there was a really, really, really brutal storm. It was brutal. There's no other way around it. Obviously, tornadic activities is something a lot of us at least know one person that has been affected by a natural disaster such as this one. Okay, so I'm really sorry about this press, Paris. It hurts me. I know how sweet you are, and I know your grandmother's probably even sweeter. And I hope she has a full recovery. If you mentioned hospital, that means there was some kind of injury. I hope she is back on her feet soon. And I appreciate your support. I was obviously joking a minute ago. I love having you here. And you saw everybody light up when you came back with a different name. I see that. There you go. P. Scott. I like it. Rolls off the tongue. How vanilla will the spring game be? Really good question. As of right now, Paris, and this is going to sound very dramatic, I don't know how LSU has a spring game. I just don't. Like this week, they had 6 scholarship offensive linemen available. 6. Okay. Um, you know, we know 5 of them aren't available for the spring, 4 high school guys coming in, and Mason Lunsford. Okay. But they're not available for the spring. Now they can come attend practices, but they're just not in spring ball. Obviously, Miles Turner, is he going to get healthy and be ready to go for a spring game? Miles Frazier, excuse me. Miles Turner, of course, is power forward of the Pacers. He's probably pretty sad because he's a Texas Longhorn. But anyway, once again, shout out to you, JSB. Miles Frazier and Charles Turner are both out. I think Turner is out for all the spring. So I don't know. I don't know how you can have a spring game with so many offensive linemen out. They have enough for all the other positions to reasonably have a spring game right now. You can always put some walk-on defensive linemen as offensive linemen on the other side and get some form of a game out. But yeah, the spring game is going to be very vanilla. Okay. But I also think they will have a spring game. It's just right now, it would be very hard for them to have one. Like very, very, very hard. Because that would be a lot of snaps and offensive line would have to play. So, if you're planning on going, they're going to have one. But we don't have a time set. We don't have a format set. I think a lot of that is because they don't know. Now, once again, April 22nd, I'm going to be in Bossier. If you're just joining us, we're doing a big event on April 22nd, and Patrick freaking Queen's going to be there. Michaela Williams, the 5-star coming in to lead us to a national championship under Kim Mulkey, and Jeray Jenkins. Okay. Charles Turner is a player of great dedication and love of football. He's working out very hard to rehab his injury. Absolutely. But yeah, it's going to be very vanilla. It's going to be very, very, very vanilla. And the thing about having a thin offensive line for a spring game is the defensive line has it a lot easier for a spring game than all the other positions because, number one, the offense is still figuring things out. Number two, they don't have to bring down the quarterback. So it's easier to get a sack in a spring game. If you touch him, the play is dead. So, yeah. Okay. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of walk-ons. Get some spring game reps. A lot. Okay. Now, when is pro day? It's actually coming up pretty soon. I think it is Wednesday. Let's see. What day is the 29th? I can pull it up right here. Very big pro day because LSU has no bona fide first round picks, which is kind of strange, right? I don't think any of you would have thought B.J. Ojolari and Kayshawn would be out of the first round at this point. You think BJ is going to be a first rounder? I could see it. Let me see. First round. I hope he is. Let's see. Let me look at the latest mock drafts. Okay. Please. Every website you go. Ad. All right. All right. Remember, there's only 31 first round picks this year, too, for the Dolphin stuff. Okay. Now, let me look at Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft from earlier this week. Let's see if he's got Ojulari here. He also doesn't have B.J. Ojulari as a first round pick. I haven't seen him in a whole lot of first rounds. Let's go to D. Riley. Okay, so D. Riley going up against Branson Cat. PHL Idol coming up pretty soon in May. Skipper wanted to get his Pressy collection mentioned. Okay. Uh-oh. I've actually not made this connection. Look at D. Riley coming in with the heat. Is year 2 the year for our new coaches? Mulkey, Final Four, and then football, baseball look like they can go deep this season. I think if LSU doesn't make Omaha this year, it is a massive disappointment. But yeah, let me see something real quick. So Orgeron won it in year 3. Les won it in year 3. I think Saban won it in year 3. Let's see, what year did Palminieri win his natty at LSU? He won his in year 3. So maybe year 2 is this next wave of elite coaches, right? I like it, D. Really, I like it, baby. Inject it into my soul. So you think this is a natty or bust roster? I'm deferring to you, Branson. You think if LSU, let's just say this LSU baseball team ran into just the hottest baseball team of all time. You still think? Oh, what's up, man? Shadow, what's up, man? Got to start hitting left-handed pitchers. So is that a thing? LSU can't hit left-handers? So as long as we don't face Randy Johnson or Tom Glavine, we're good. I like that. Bo Davis. Let's go. Oh, a lot. But it depends what job they're at, right? How many natties would Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, and Lincoln Riley win? Well, what if they're at West Virginia or Kansas State or something like that? Then they might make a playoff, but do you really breaking down the baseball? I love it. Plus, also, Dave Van Horn is a beast, man. He's one of the best coaches in college baseball history. So, I mean, it's hard to sweep Arkansas. They're a good team. I was pulling for Texas. Not. I'm kidding. I really was for John Sibley. But Miami. Fitzpatrick. Loving Jesus. What's up, man? Good to see you, man. Shout out Woodlawn. Branson's supposed to help me build my talk. I love talk. Not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. You wanna know what's funny? Okay. Quick talk story. Okay. So I went to a crawfish boil last second. Okay. And yesterday, so I'm at this crawfish boil. I saw a guy I've not seen in years. Okay, years. And I used to hang out with them all the time. Okay. Now, this is not a, by the way, before I share the story, this is not a ringing endorsement here. Okay. Simper, this is not a ringing endorsement. Yeah, Fitz, you didn't miss anything. The entire 2 hours here, Carter just spewed out garbage, which is probably true. You missed nothing. Yeah, it's absolutely nothing. Now, we celebrated Kim Mulkey's amazing national championship run, Final Four run. We also celebrated Angel Reese, Alexis Morris, Poole, LaDasia Williams. Okay, celebrated all of them. We also talked some Jamar Kane. We also talked for a while a pretty prominent national college football personality. Did not have LSU in his top 10 programs in college football. Okay. So there you go. Does it matter too much where your hypothetical coaching staff is located? It does. Okay. Deion Sanders got the number one player to a D2 school. Yes, he's Deion Sanders. He's the coolest guy, one of the coolest football players of all time. Was he going to continue to do that? Maybe. He got Cormani McClain. He got some other elite guys. He got Jawan Johnson, one of the best players in Louisiana there. Okay. Now, back to the talk story. So I go out, crawfish bowls in the middle of nowhere. And I see this guy for the first time in probably 4 years, not talk to him, anything. And he's sitting down, and you would not think that this guy was a TikToker. He's in his late 40s. He is one of the most introverted guys I've ever met. Okay, really nice guy, but really introverted guy. And he was like, "Hey, you don't do radio anymore?" And I don't. I mean, I occasionally do fill-in radio. And he was like, "What do you do?" And I was like, I do YouTube. This is what I do." And he was like, "Hey, do you ever get on TikTok?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I love TikTok. Good app." Okay. And he said, "You know what? I got 4 different accounts on TikTok." I mean, I wouldn't think this guy was a technological genius. And he does. And he has 130,000 followers on one of his accounts. He is not a social media guy. He is not. He's lunch pail, blue collar guy. Did not think of him as a TikToker. And he started showing me all these duets of like just his friends in Canada, friends in Michigan, and all this stuff. And he was like just like fired up about these people talking about the ban or the alleged ban that might happen. Okay. I like talk. I do. YouTube's always going to be number one for me because it's where I am. It's where I've gotten to know all you guys. And I love all these social apps. I'm loving what we do on Patreon and in the Discord. I love it. Getting to know you guys a little bit more in Patreon, all that stuff. And that obviously helps me make a living. But yeah, you would not think that some of these people that are wildly successful on TikTok would be TikTokers, right? Some person I knew in high school, 1.5 million followers. 1.5 million followers. I went and looked. Nothing special. Nothing special. Just I don't even remember what the content was. But it was good. It was good for that niche. It was good for that group of people. For her to get 1.5 million, it's impressive. So it serves a purpose. The one I don't get, and I get it, but I don't get it, is Instagram. It's clunky. The user interface is just not the best. I don't get it. Like, part of why I don't post on Instagram, unless it's some interview that we do or something like that, is, and I do it for the recruits. I just don't like it. Like it's clunky, and I still scroll on there from time to time, but I just think it's out of all the social media apps, no, I don't like that one. So Cinco's like, who was it on TikTok? I don't even remember her name on TikTok. I don't. I didn't follow her or anything. Someone I knew in high school. Someone sitting there like, hey, did you know so and so's got 1.5 million followers on TikTok? And I was like, that is wild. And she is also an introverted person. So I don't know what it is. It's interesting. There's all these different worlds on there. But it's like that on Twitter. It's like that on a lot of different things. So yeah, I think a lot of people feel like Roger, right? But I'm not going to get into this debate. But there you go. Yeah, I just think I don't know. There's a lot that I like about it, right? Um, I'll also say this: I get too fascinated in too many different things. Like I was once an aspiring magician, so I'll spend 1,000 hours on magician TikTok. I have an affinity for truck drivers. I'll watch truck driver content on TikTok. Okay. I've been watching all these truck drivers back up and put a tea bag into like a mug. I just think that's the coolest thing. It's just ridiculous how much talent you have to do that. Like I don't think I could practice that for a month and not be able to do that. I remember I got into power washing TikTok. Power washing TikTok is hot fire. Okay. Power washing TikTok. Y'all better watch out, man. Dude, I'm just like, God, dog, the before and after, it's crazy. Then there's this guy who did the like he does art with soap coming down on the window. Have you guys seen this person? Like soap comes down on the window and they're able to draw like just picture perfect logos and everything. Hog hunts. There you go. Now, Van, if you like hog hunts, okay, I got something for you. Some PHL merch. Now, how about you get you a PHL shirt to go along with your hog hunting scrolling? Type Y for yes, type N for no in the chat. You have purchased some PHL merch on powerhourlsu.com. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Okay? TOV, it's coming soon. I feel it in your bones. I'm a broke senior citizen. Hey, I get it. Times are tough. But, Van, I'll do this. We've got a few more of these Malik Neighbors autograph. We'll get you a piece of merch, or if you join the PHL Patreon, I'll not only send you this Malik Neighbors autograph card, Van, I will send you a Brian Kelly card. I know you want to do it, Van. You're in our chat as much as anybody. Piece of merch, or I'm actually probably losing if you get a piece of merch and I send you this. Or you join the PHL Patreon, which is an even better deal. $9.99 a month, Dan. That's all it is. Oh, yeah, you get all my bonus content. You get my quarterback breakdown I'm going to drop tomorrow. Do it, Van. LA Mom is in there. Jason Taylor. I could see it. I mean, he's been coaching some at the Division I level in Miami, right? That's why he missed the Mason Taylor catch. At the SEC championship game, I got to meet Jason, which was really cool. But honestly, LA Mom, they're just throwing names out for right now. But I don't know. It would be fun. It would be fun, right? That would be the second Pro Bowl pass rusher LSU has hired in the past 3 years to be the D-line coach. I'm telling you, Van, this is your opportunity, man. How to join Patreon? There's a link right there. Click that link. Join the Joey tier, $9.99 a month, and I'm going to send you both of these, Malik Neighbors and Brian Kelly card. Okay? You have 24 hours. Huh? Yeah, so you just click. You can leave the stream if you have to do this. Click this link. Sign up. Click the Joey tier, the $9.99 tier. There's different tiers. Okay. Click it. Join. I'm going to send you both of these cards. Okay. Not one, but two. So after the show in Bossier, when you make it back down in BR, actually, I will be there Easter Sunday weekend, so we can hang out that weekend. I'm totally down. Go to Zippy's. I think Haley wants to go to Zippy's. She just wants the daiquiris. I don't blame her. You know what's funny? I'm not eating at Zippy's in forever. But God, dude, they're daiquiris. I'm not getting any money from them for saying this. Dude, that is the best alcoholic beverage on the planet. Any of them. Dude, they're all so good. Like, I don't know. I don't know. We got a PHLer, Steve, who is like super good at making daiquiris himself. I think even he could say at PHL, them daiquiris. But yeah, I'll be there in a few weeks, so just text me. We'll hang out. We'll get a PHL get together in BR. Can't freaking believe it. The Final Four, man. That's so cool. What are you gonna do? A zippy saying? I'm always down for a zippy saying, man. Always down for a good zippy saying. Huh? Oh man. It's just chill in there, man. Now I will also say, like, it's not like I mean that's if you had never been to Baton Rouge before, I don't think that would be like where you would go eat per se. But dude, it's I love their food too. So yeah, that Friday or that Thursday, I don't know just yet, but it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. Now, I know a few of you have asked me about March Madness. Okay, this is gonna happen because it is a national media take that people like. It's kind of like the Josh Pate not putting LSU in the top 10, right? Let's go to Donovan Super Chat. What happens first? Baseball, basketball, and football each win a national title, or an LSU player wins the Heisman? Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah. So, I would say an LSU player wins the Heisman because it's just one player winning the Heisman Trophy, and if football is on the run to winning a Heisman Trophy, you do have the likelihood of a player on that team, say it's Harold Perkins or Jayden Daniels. I think those would be the two players that could win a Heisman next year for us. They could win the Heisman before we actually win that football national championship. So I'll say LSU player wins a Heisman. So there you go. And Donovan clarified women's basketball. LSU is a women's basketball school when everyone knew you were mentioning women's basketball. Normally it's the other way around when people want you to clarify which one it is. But yes, we all know we were talking about Kim Mulkey. I don't think Matt McMahon is anywhere close. But look, Garrett Nussmeier winning the Heisman in 2024. Hey, Chance. I've seen crazier things happen, including a quarterback who didn't throw a touchdown pass in 4 straight games. The next year ended up being the best to ever play the position at the collegiate level. So there's crazier things that have happened. Indeed. Okay. Malik Neighbors for Heisman. Hey, look, that's very doable, right? Van joined the Patreon. Look at that. There you go. Van is in our Patreon. How about that? So that's cool. We got somebody new. I love it. Oh man. Here you go, Van. Van B. We got 2 Vans here on PHL. That's good. So yeah, I'll show some clap emojis to Van. We're gonna get him in the Discord pretty soon. Yeah, Cortland, but I think everyone knew what he was saying here, that another Heisman winner. Okay. So there you go. That's cool. Now, so going back to my thought before this, Donovan, I'm going to say a Heisman winner. Okay. Yeah, Van, we got you, Van. So, Van, I just sent you a message in Patreon. Message me back your address. Don't post it in here. Don't post it in here. Okay. Don't do that. Once again, don't do that. All right. I don't want anybody knocking on your door, especially people being like, hey, I want these 2 cards. Huh? But Van, message me back your address, and then I'm going to message you a link to an app called Discord. Okay. And that is our private chat room where everybody in Power Hour LSU chats about LSU football 24/7, 365. Okay. So Brant will be there to welcome you, Skipper, Sherry, Alpha, everybody that's in there. Okay. Let's see here. Crap. I lost all my messages. Let me see. Why can't I see this? Yeah, we talk about anything. Let's see. Oh, they did. Okay. They should. They should. I honestly, and I've seen coaching meltdowns before. I have. So there you go. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Shadows. All the deep end. Yeah, Van, I think you're commenting on a post. It's in your personal messages. Okay. Yeah, Forbes is a killer in there, man. He's great. Let's see. uh, Trader Joe's meetup. I'm down. Yeah, so there is a messages tab. You should be able to have the option to receive messages. So it's in your personal inbox, and I sent you a message in there. Okay. So it should be your messages in there. Now, while Van gets that figured out, I think, for me, when I look at the basketball, um, when I look at the basketball situation with the March Madness, something I think the national media is going to do, and they're going to beat this over your head, right? Well, there's not a big brand in the Final Four. It's UConn and three other ragtag schools: Miami, Florida Atlantic, and San Diego State. Right? Three schools who have never been there before. Okay. I got to be honest. Does it suck to not have the traditional powers in there? Does it lose a little bit of luster? Yes, because you root against the uh uh um the you you go to messages. It should be under messages. You No, I'm fine. I'm fine, Grant. I'm fine. I'm trying to figure this out for Van, because I know like all this new stuff can because I want to make sure everyone feels welcome. But I hate that the let me see. No. I promise you, Grant, I'm fine. Promise you. But I actually shouted you out in my latest spring practice video. Let me see. I interviewed Danny Hurley a few years ago. Good man. I like that. Now, something that I think is important is, yes, it's all sports are always better if there's a villain, right? Because there is a piece of me that would have that would have hate watched the Final Four because of Alabama being there, right? So it does lose a little bit, right? You thought I was having a stroke? Well, I'm glad you were looking out for me. I appreciate that. There is a piece of me that would have liked to have seen Alabama lose in the final or something like that, right? So rooting against Alabama or rooting against Duke, rooting against North Carolina or whatever. But the truth here is that should not matter. Because all this week, people are going to bitch and moan about the ratings. Well, the ratings are going to be down because the ratings are going to be down because people aren't going to like the format of these non-power brands being a part of this this accumulation of the most exciting sporting event that we have. Okay, so I hate that. I really do, because you can't have it both ways. You can't say, hey, I love March Madness because of the upsets. I love March Madness because of the craziness and the Cinderellas and all of that. And then at the same time say, well, I'm pissed that Duke isn't here. I'm pissed that Kansas isn't here. I'm pissed that Villanova isn't here. I just don't think you can have it both ways. I'm sorry. I think it's either you want the upsets and you live with the results, and or you could be, hey, I don't like the upsets. I just want the traditional powers in there. Okay. So the truth here is college basketball is better for the upsets. Okay. Also, this is a palate cleanser from the world of college football. Okay. So, as much as we talked about Josh Pate, all right, and I'm a college football guy, college football is probably always going to be the main sport that I cover and do full time. I want to do media the rest of my life. I love the NBA. I love NFL football. I still do an NFL show. Um, and, I like other sports. I love the Olympics and all of that. But as much as we make gripes about who is actually in the top 10 college football, programs, okay, at least we know that every single year, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, LSU, maybe Oklahoma on a crazy year, maybe USC are going to win it all, okay? It's one reason why I hate the 14 playoff leaving, because this is the closest we have ever gotten to a true college football Cinderella winning it all, with TCU winning it all. And even then, they got beat 65-7. Okay. College basketball, I'm telling you right now, this could just be a 1-year thing. But college basketball, I think it's going to be like this forever. I think it's going to be like this forever. With the transfer portal being the way that it is. Okay. I mean, the best player in this tournament, the best player in this entire tournament, okay, was Noel. Mr. New York City was his Twitter handle. Marquise Noel. Okay. He was a 5'9" point guard. And he was a transfer from UALR. Okay. Arkansas Little Rock. Now with the portal, the Kansas State can get transfers. They had a 6-year transfer from Arkansas State as a starter. I mean, with the portal, people can go anywhere. Anywhere. It's crazy. It's a 1-year rental sport. I love it. I freaking love it. I'm telling you, I don't care how these final games go. I don't care if the rest of the games are blowouts. I'm serious. I don't care. I don't care. And UConn very well could blow the brakes off of everybody, because they have. This has been by far the best tournament ever. The best one I have ever witnessed. Ever. There's never been one that comes close to how much I enjoyed it. And my team's not even in it. And here's the thing. This has been my favorite tournament I've ever watched. You know what else is crazy? North Carolina isn't there. Villanova isn't there. Georgetown isn't there. These legendary college basketball brands that have won national championships in the past few decades, they aren't there. And I'm still enjoying the hell out of it. Okay? My team's not in it. This has been my favorite tournament. It's been my favorite tournament. I know I'm semi-affiliated with this school, but the Furman Paladins, freaking Paladins, that Virginia game was legendary. UConn is definitely a blue blood. And if they win the national title this year, and I know Mike loves him, some Noel. Okay. All right, Branson. We'll talk soon, and we'll get our Baton Rouge get together. We're gonna get Mike to come on Easter weekend. Can I hang out? Okay. But I'm telling you, I mean, there are so many programs that didn't even make it, didn't even make the tournament. Just fine. Just fine. Kansas didn't even survive the first weekend. Tournament's just fine. Duke didn't survive the first weekend. Tournament is just fine. It's fine. I like college football for the college basketball for the chaotic mess that it is. College football, you just don't have it, and I don't think you're ever going to have it. Okay, and we are very lucky to be in the 1%. We are very lucky to be in the 1%. We are. We might not be Jeff Bezos, but we're Mark Cuban. Okay, we're there. Okay. So this tournament is beautiful. This has been art. I will never forget where I was for all of these games. They have been so good. They have been so good to the point where it's hurt my productivity. I'm serious. These games have been so good. And you know, it's just great, man. It's just great. I also like this, you know, in the NBA, you can't be 5'8" and do anything in the NBA. You just can't. Like, it's hard to do things at 6'2", right? 5'8" guy can win a national title in college basketball. Kansas State almost did it just now. You can win with undersized scrappiness. You can win with 4th and 5th year players. It's the best, man. It's the best. This has reinvigorated my love for this tournament. I don't give a rip. Too much of last year's tournament was about Coach K's last go around. Don't give a rip. Don't give a rip. I just don't. And I used to work with Coach K. I did. Didn't give a rip. I like Coach K. Love Coach K. But the tournament is all I care about. Whoever wins and makes it, I'm still going to love it. I still am. Okay. Me Too says, I am glad football is more stable. Yeah, I am too, because we are one of the stable programs. Look, it benefits us. It benefits us in a major way. All right. That's all there is to it, man. It's either you're at the table or you're not. Right. And if we're being honest, in terms of non-traditional teams joining the elite, really only Clemson it wasn't, you know, I mean, I know they won a title in 80 and all of that, but they're really the only program that has been able to elevate themselves to the stable group, the top 10 programs, not including LSU, by the way. Isn't that crazy? Not one SEC team made the Elite Eight. Isn't that wild? Not one. We had, what, 8 teams get in? Vanderbilt should have gotten in. Yeah, you know what was interesting, Chance? It wasn't necessarily that the SEC teams got beat, right? The Alabama loss looks a little bit more understandable because San Diego State is a team full of adults, right? So I don't think that loss was that bad, but there was just some bad SEC losses, right? A&M getting blown out round 1, Dennis Gates getting blown out by Princeton round 2. Arkansas didn't show against UConn. I think that has more to do with UConn right now. Let's see. Tennessee had a lead versus Florida Atlantic. They choked. But FAU looks like a true contender right now. Let's go take a look at more of these SEC exits. Okay, good, Van. You found the message tab. That's good. Let's see how some of these other SEC teams got knocked out. Kentucky lost to. I don't think that Kentucky loss was bad. Their guards just didn't show up, and Noel was a beast. Man, Noel was the best player in the tournament. Auburn choked. They should have beaten Houston. So that was kind of a bad loss, or a bummer loss. Let's see. I know there's another one mixed in there. Who else had a bad loss in the SEC? I don't remember. There's somebody else. I think that's it. Let's go, Presh. Let's go. Did I get your info? I did. So now what I'm going to do, Van. Well, we got somebody in there waiting for you, Van, to welcome you. Here we go. So, Van, I'm going to send you this. Okay. So got your address. I'm going to send your cards out tomorrow. Okay. And then Van, I just sent you a link to Discord. It's a new app, or it would be a new app for you. I don't think you've had it already. If you did, all you got to just click the link and it's easy. But it's an app on your phone or your computer, and you click on that Discord link, and it'll get you in. And I just sent it in your messages. All you got to do is click the link, and you'll load everything. It's new. It takes about a few days to get used to, but yeah. So Van, I just responded to your text. I'm gonna send your card out tomorrow. I'm gonna make a note of it right here. Okay. And Van card. Okay. But yeah, there were some disappointing losses in there for the SEC. No, like massive upsets. But yeah, I mean they there's a lot of disappointment mixed in there. But I think people are overreacting a little bit to the Kentucky loss. I can't believe I'm defending John Calipari. If you actually went and watched that game, Kansas State hit some bombs to win that game. Oh, Mulkey. So what is that? Jacksonville and Miami? I don't know. FAU's in Jacksonville, correct? I don't know. All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and actually, I got to do this. In the next 5 minutes, I'll answer as many questions as I possibly can. But if you super chat, we'll keep going. I know some of you want to stay up late. I don't mind staying up late. I had a Sprite Zero before I started this, so I got some of that adrenaline going. Let's see. That's not good. It's in Boca Raton, Florida. Okay. All right. Oh, it's less than an hour. How wild would that be? It is less than an hour. If I'm looking at this correctly. Yeah. That's crazy. For 49 miles. How about that? Let's go. Oh, Van's in there, buddy. Let's go. So, Van, if you look in there, there's different channels. So most of the chat happens in the PHL LSU 2022 channel. That's mostly just LSU everything. But like there's other channels, like there's a recruiting channel, sports car channel, music channel, pets channel. Pets channel is always crazy. But the LSU channel is where most people are in there chatting. So I just tagged you in the LSU channel. You'll see it to the far left. But yeah, I got your info. I'm going to send your cards out tomorrow, and you're in the Discord. Congratulations, man. You have joined an exclusive group of very talented people. And if you actually look in the Patreon, I post depth charts, breakdowns, all kinds of stuff. So there you go. Now, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to be chatting in the Discord because Van is just now in there. And tomorrow I will be on with Blake Ruffino, AYS, every Monday at 7:30. It's my best buddy. Love going on that channel. And we'll have another live stream on Tuesday night. Once again, shout out to Kim Mulkey. Been kind of a crazy week in LSU news, losing the defensive line coach Jamar Kane. But this should be a week of celebration. You come back and beat Arkansas 2 out of 3 games in baseball. Kim Mulkey gets the job done. LSU is not melted down. No injuries so far in spring that are serious. So we are moving swimmingly. Okay? And we will see you tomorrow. It is Power Hour LSU, baby. Boom. Top super chatter tonight is the legendary John Sibley Butler. And tonight, we're doing burgers, baby. Let's go.